5 minutes for chapter 4. Chapter 4 is talking about the force in the global environment. If you check the picture here, there's like two types of force around the organization. One type called task environment, including suppliers, distributors, customer, compactor. The force from this task environment is supposed to be ongoing, short, daily force on a organization. Outside circle is called general environment. The force from the 5 different kind of perspective supposed to be a long, consistent force on a organization. For this 5 minutes, I probably won't go through everything. It's too much things. But I only select two topics, which is very interesting for me. Show some example which we can learn from the recent practice. The first one, how about the compactors from the text environment? Definition from our textbook is compactor is the organization that produce good or service as similar with a particular organization good or service. In other words, if you are the owner of the company, you may need to look at those compactors who create similar product to you. But I want to challenge this definition a little bit because I'm working on some research give me a different answers. For example, have you heard something called cup noodles? I know it's not that popular in the US, but if you go to the East Asia, China, Japan, South Korea, you will see cup noodle is a big thing. A big thing. For example, in 2013, the sales of a one type of cup noodle in China is about 4.3 billion, which is double the sales of double the pizza worldwide. So you see the huge market in China about cup noodles. However, after 3 years, their sales dropped to the half, only 2.2 billion. 3 years, cut in the middle. Why they have sales drop? Right? If you learn from our textbook, you may think about it's about new brand, right? Then they break the brand loyalties. It's about the government regulation. Maybe the local government doesn't encourage everybody to eat cup noodle. Or how about the economy situation? Maybe people get poor, they don't have money to buy cup noodle, right? No. Oh no, right? The real reason is food delivery service. Around that 3 years, there's a huge amount of food delivery service like Uber Eats happening in China. People used to think about, hey, cup noodle is for convenience. However, if I order something from the restaurant, they may arrive in 10 minutes with a very good price, very good taste. Why someone still want to buy cup noodles? In other words, the compactor not produce the similar product for the cup noodle owners, right? They are in a totally different industry. However, become a compactor for the owner of cup noodle companies. Right? Could you list other kind of this kind of example? I can quickly think about GPS. I believe in your grandma or grandpa cars, they still use this Garmin GPS. But nowadays, who still buy the GPS? Everyone have iPhone. The map application in the iPhone, basically, I would say killed in this entire GPS industry. Now, if you check Garmin, it was the most popular GPS brand. They are producing watch right now. Okay, this is one example from the text environment about the change. For the outside circle, the general environment, I only want to point out one force, which you can learn other force by yourself, which is called technological force, right? You are seeing those technology force change every day. We used to think something may change in 10 years, 20 years, but nowadays, phew, they change overnight, right? It happened very quick. It's not like a long-term force. This is like a short-term force, right? For example, I don't know if you generation still know Nokia. used to be a giant of the self mobile phone industry, right? They probably bankrupt in 2 years just because iPhone have their first touchscreen. If you check the history, actually Nokia owned the first generation of touchscreen phone, but they decided now advanced technology. They believe their technology like a bottom things still can dominate the entire phone industry. However, they bankrupt in 2 years. Similarly, if you're familiar with Tesla, the history of Tesla, they make a huge investment on R&D for many years, but their sales was really bad for those years. Until a certain point, they start to earn money, but people see all this technical force and all companies start making an electrical car, right? The po so for this chapter, I want to give you some those ideas introduced by our textbook may need to update by yourself by some recent practice as soon as possible. Otherwise, who knows what kind of force those companies may have nowadays. Okay, this is this chapter 5 minutes. Read textbook, do the quiz.